Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of StarSound Speaks. This is your host, Irlianna Samsara of StarSound Astrology. This is episode 118. I hope you've had a fun time with the previous podcast where I interviewed Alice Sparkly Cat. She is an absolutely brilliant writer, very visionary, very amazing. Mercury in Pisces. What can I say? That says it all, right? That was the previous episode 117. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, please do. And her book is just like beyond the beyond. So post-colonial astrology. And it's meshing everything that's going on right now and seeing in society, and it's meshing and how everything comes together, reimagining astrology in this whole new paradigm that we're stepping into. So very groundbreaking work. So I encourage you to go to her website if you have a chance, alicesparklycat.com. Can't say enough good things about her. She is amazing. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the new moon in Leo, yay, which is tomorrow around 1:49 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to talk about what that looks like, the major transits and the major signature for that. And then through the 12 houses, where is this new moon going to occur in your chart and what you might expect. A little bit about that. But before I do that, Venus is still in the sign of Virgo. And so Venus ruling connection and love and harmony and everything. And Virgo being such a big health significator, health and service, I just thought it would be a perfect opportunity to tell you about a really cool healing breakthrough I had. I've had neck tension, where I often get it. Obviously, being at a computer for my career can contribute to that. But just in general, tension in neck and jaw and everything is very common for me. And I happen to reconnect with a friend of mine who has he launched a company of CBD oil, but these are healing salves and balms. And it's called Sleeping Giant Botanicals. I'll put that web address below. But the reason I'm bringing this up is I had such wonderful fortune. Well, first of all, it was lovely to reconnect with him. It had been like 3 years. And so he told me what he was up to. He launched this line of products, but they have DMSO, which I'm not familiar with, but very much, I just tried one of these products and I was like, hey, it's Venus and Virgo. Let me mention this. This one that he, and why I really like these is, it's because these are solar, get this. So I'm reading the little, I don't know if you can see that there. Sunshine, this is called Sunshine Salve, which is CBD and DM, what is it, SO balm. It's solar activated, lunar harmonized, astrologically attuned. What? Right? You got me on that, right? The solar activated alone, right? But anyway, yeah. So, and he's just a really cool guy. And it drives the point home of the things that we use. We want them to be a really high vibe. Like I know that he does a lot of prayer and meditation, before he makes his products. And so, when you're buying a product from somebody like that, that's really devoted, it's like, we always want to make sure we're, as much as possible, that we do these things because all of that counts too. That's kind of like Uranus and Taurus. Our new value system is to incorporate, there's different values than just, oh, I got this for the lowest price or whatever, the old paradigm. So this new paradigm is, putting value on things like enlightenment, and just on, unique, beautiful, wonderful things that help us, that help the earth. This is all natural, obviously. And I just know that it worked. I mean, I couldn't get over within a minute my neck pain. And I also put on my lower back. It was gone. And it was gone for like 6 hours. I know that CBD oil can, I had tried CBD oil a few years ago. And honestly, I didn't really notice the difference. And who knows, there are so many brands and there's so many variables, but all I know is this stuff works. So I put it on my lower back, put it on my neck, saves me trips to the chiropractor. Not that I don't love my chiropractor, but it's pretty cool. So anyway, I mentioned that it's called Sunshine Salve. Then he's got all these other ones. I'm like, okay, what else you got? There is breath of life. It's like vapor rub, but you're not going to be stinky, smelly like Vicks, but it's good if you have like asthma or maybe a respiratory. I'm just saying this. These are not claims he's making by any means, but people have written to him and shared some stories. With the sunshine salve, he said that one of his customers wrote to him and said he had arthritis in his hands and he wasn't able to open his hands. And when he started using the sunshine salve, he said, oh my God, my hands, I could open my hands for the first time in 10 years. And he was like blown away. So I thought that's pretty cool to share. And then there's this one called Mount Kailash Temple Balm. And people say that it's really good for migraines, so they found success with these things. So anyway, I don't suffer from migraines, but if you do, you might want to try that out. There's this one for not premenopause, but like, I guess PMS. It's called, which is, very, again, what people have shared. He's not making any claims, but people have found this one very useful with PMS women. It's called Feminina, obviously, right? So there's that. And then there's a new one coming out. I don't know if it's out yet, but it's called Empress, and it's for menopausal or post-menopause. So yeah, really cool stuff. So I would just say, this is a great time to re-examine what is the source of, our health products, and to be, we can be a little more choosy with Venus and Virgo. We might want to check that out and give it a really good, careful looking over. But I just found such great results from this. So Sleeping Giant Botanicals is, he didn't pay me to say this. I'm just, it's Leo season. We're sharing our heart, right? So anyway, there you go. So yeah, some great little salves and things, and all good. Now, on to the new moon. So the new moon in Leo, it is going to be tomorrow at 1:49 p.m. Eastern time. And this is going to be at, what is it? How many degrees of Leo? Let me pull up the screen here and we'll get that up. Okay, it is going to be at 16 degrees of Leo. The sun is at 16 degrees. And anyway, the main signature for this one is that the Saturn, when there is a new moon, it's like the little birth chart for the month, right? So even though the moon moves on and all the other planets keep moving, it has that kind of overlay. So what we're looking at for the next lunation here until the next new moon, which will be September 6th, right after or on Labor Day. So from now till then, this is all about, obviously, Leo ruled things, us, our divine will, our creativity, our camaraderie, our warmth, our heart, our generosity, our creativity. These are all major themes. And so I would say with that square, the square with Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, and it's making that exact square. The sun just passed its exact square with Uranus, but it's still, we have that energy. And so what that is saying is, I would say, and by the way, all of these, we have 6 planets in fixed signs for this particular lunation. So that's a lot of fixed energy. So what is fixed energy? Well, it can be stubborn, especially Saturn, and I want your sun in Leo. You got to do it my way. Hopefully we're not coming from that. But we have to watch ourselves and monitor these things. But I would say the main thing is these fixed signs can be very stabilizing, right? They ground, they take an idea and something and like, let's ground it. So what this is saying is the opportunity to ground our heart light, our humor, our passion, our bravery, our courage, our playfulness, our inner child, ground it, right? Ground it but don't ground it where it's like holding you back. Uranus and Taurus is like, look, let's connect in new and innovative ways that are breaking from the past. So old stuck ways in which we may have, approached these things. It's time for a change. So no better time than the sun in Leo, right? It's, I am the king of the forest, right? Isn't that what the lion said? And to not be scared, right? Or being fearless. And so be fearless with your creativity, with love and romance too. I mean, heck, you know, it's Leo. What can I say? There's a great quote from Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, and I'm going to read it to you. Really cool. I love this quote. He was, if you are not familiar with Yogananda, he is considered a saint in India. He brought yoga to America over 100 years ago, to Los Angeles to be specific. And anyway, yoga to the West. And so incredible, you know, autobiography of a yogi. It was a great time to read it, right? Because of that blazing sun in Leo, that passion and that fire for, you know, new beginnings. I mean, wow, you know, start with yoga. Anyway, he said, you must not let your life run in the ordinary way. Do something that nobody else has done, something that will dazzle the world. Show that God's creative principle works in you. So this lunation in the sun and moon in Leo really speaks to that. So if you feel like you've, you know, been in the blahs, I mean, do something extraordinary, out of the ordinary, something that will really individuate yourself. So no cloning here, right? Clones are not acceptable. If you've been in a rut and you kind of feel like everyone else or behaving like old stuck patterns, this is the month where all that can just break. And I would say too that you know, there could be sudden changes occurring. It could be sudden changes around our environment, our work, or our money and financial situation with, you know, Uranus being in Taurus, you know, that kind of here again, gone, back and forth, you know, reversals of fortune. But reversal of fortune could be either way. If you've had a lot of loss, it could be about bringing it back. So it really works both ways. But I would say be flexible, be innovative, be creative, be inventive around these topics, around your stepping out, around your creativity. Be original, creative solutions. And I think too, with perhaps you would let a mentor guide you. So we've just come out of the opposition with Saturn just before this new moon. Right. So there was that conflict about, you know, don't tell me what to do. Don't show me, you know, I want to do it myself. Right. You know, but Saturn is like the wise person that's saying, look, I know, you know, he's really our friend. It's like, oh, you know, Saturn wants us to succeed. But it's kind of like, I thought about like a trip to the principal's office. If you were like a bad kid and you were misbehaving and you had to go down there, and then the principal sitting there is like, okay, now look, okay. Look, you know, you can't be doing this outrageous behavior. It's great that you have this amazing mind and spirit, but you got to, you know, put it in a, you know, put a limit around it, or put a little, let's be a little wise and a little patient, and let's think about others, right? Saturn in Aquarius, let's think about others before you go off in your own merry way. So it's not that he's trying to shut it down. It's just saying, let's find this healthy balance where we can integrate patience and focus and discipline with creativity. But now we passed that point. So for the new moon, kind of like coming out of that, we've left the principal's office, so to speak, but we have those lessons fresh in our mind. And then, you know, Uranus still in that square energy, the main event for this lunation is saying, okay, you know, let's just be creative and innovative, and as you move forward, be original, don't do things in the same old way, and if you feel like the rug's been pulled out from under you, like use that for your creativity. Don't get stopped by it, and don't get afraid by it, and just you know, roll with the unknown, I would say. So that's the overall feeling for this lunation. We also have Venus, the planet Venus in its, like we were saying, Venus in Virgo is in an opposition with Neptune. So on a creative, since we're speaking our creativity, on a creative level, that could be, you know, Venus is our talents and our connections and such. So our talents are facing off with some unknown, or maybe some confusion, right, with Neptune and Pisces. But I would say if we have been too much like in our head about our talents and thinking or overthinking or having anxiety. That opposition with Neptune is like, hey, let in some peace, let in some quiet time or dreaminess and inspiration. You know, Venus in Virgo is like, I got to have it all figured out, right? I got to solve problems. I got to be analytical. And Neptune opposition is like, yeah, let's just soften that a little. So I would say perhaps, you know, soften your mind, right? With Venus in Mercury ruled Virgo, soften your mind and quit being so nitpicky, especially around relationships. Are you picking on your loved ones, you know, with the one you could have done it better? I don't know. Or cleaning, you know, house cleaning, Virgo, right? Tidiness. Would you like to clean up the living room? No, it's not my turn. Is it, you know, whatever. You know, try to come from a more compassionate place. Try not to get too crazy or too anally retentive around cleaning. Do what you have to do, but then just allow in, I would just say, allow in some creativity to inspire you. And so, yeah, so there you go. And I think too, I would say, you know, take your time, take time to smell the flowers. Sometimes we rush and we're so in our head that we're not like really being present to the beauty that's around us. And I think about when, you know, remember when COVID first hit and all the tourist spots like Venice, you know, shut down and there were no, you know, big ships going through Venice Canal. And we saw those pictures on the, in the news that after only like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, dolphins were seen swimming in the canals in Venice, which is, you know, quite something considering, you know, when you think about how dirty that water is. But the water was getting clean and you could actually see clearly. So all that pollution from the environment and cruise ships and all of that had ceased enough. And I never forgot that. And when the dolphins coming back were like saying, hey guys, you know, and I feel too on a very deep level, what does COVID represent? I feel that there's something, it's like the universe is telling us there's been such a big break with nature and to let nature in. So maybe that's a good message to share with Venus and Virgo. But certainly the dolphins shared it. You know, here they come swimming down the canal and they're like, hey guys, you know, and as soon as all the activity resumed, the dolphins disappeared. So that was like a real wake-up call. How connected are we to nature and the earth and just nature in general? So yeah, something to consider. Okay. So then of course, we're going to have our full moon. It'll be in another Aquarian. We'll have 2 full moons. The last one was at 1 degree of Aquarius last month. And then we'll have a final one at 29 degrees, which is a karmic degree. And I will say that with all the upsetment that we've been seeing with new restrictions and who knows, maybe quarantine, I don't know. But I would say with right now we have, Mercury is heading into an opposition with Jupiter. So that can be, again, you know, people being loud and bold and maybe upset and disappointed, like, you know, the promises not having, we all wanted this to work, you know, and to be done with COVID right now, but there's still this situation going on. So it may come, especially for the US, we have the moon of the United States is at 27 degrees of Aquarius, and Jupiter is at 28 right now. So it's sitting on the moon of the US. So you can imagine, you know, it's an increase, right? Jupiter brings more rebellion and more upsetment and more, you know, there, unfortunately on the shadow side, it can bring more polarity, but the good side of it is that it can foster union where we all come together for a bigger cause. Like, let's all get over this epidemic, right? So with Jupiter conjunct the USA moon right now, the thing is a full moon that happens on the 22nd of August, we're going to have the full moon conjunct Jupiter and the moon of the US. So we could definitely be seeing, talk about emotions coming to a head, you know, but it's also, it's about being, you know, cool, calm, and collected, and being, you know, what the polar opposite of sharing our heart. There it is again. You know, so it's the polar opposite of Aquarius being Leo. It's, you know, being authentic and being and sharing our hearts, and being warm and warm-hearted and generous, and trying to work that in and balance all of that, and having compassionate laws. And, you know, and so, you know, obviously this is a very hot button topic, and it's a lot of how people interpret it, and how they work with it. But that's what the universe is asking us to do here, to create a very grander vision of unity consciousness. And it may be beyond our paradigm, beyond what we think is possible, but being open to these higher truths. So that's going to be that full moon. But in the meantime, before we get to that full moon, August 10th, we are going to have Mercury. Mercury will be in that exact opposition. So, and we have to think about too, Mercury, when you think Mercury and Gemini ruling the, you know, the lungs and such, and respiratory systems. So, you know, now we had, believe it or not, I just read this, we had 10,000 cases last month. I know it was in the United States, but I don't think it was worldwide. Anyway, they said now we have 100,000 in a month. It's shocking. So again, we see that difficult opposition, that conflict that's going on. But Mars in opposition to Jupiter could bring some, you know, people who are very vocal and very upset. And we might, who knows, it could be demonstrations or protests, you know, more than what we are seeing now. Wednesday, August 11th, Mercury will leave its, leave Leo and go into its domicile. So Mercury, you know, one of his favorite places is either Gemini or Virgo, that home sign, right? So he'll be in his domicile of Virgo, and that is, and then he'll be lining up with Mars. So Mercury and Mars. Sorry about using gender. I just, you know, it's a slip, and it's like, it sounds so sterile, but we could say they is cool, right? That's it. So Mercury, and Mercury being the hermaphrodite, right? The one who's of both, the androgyne, and also the one that moves into different worlds and shapeshifts and moves one way and then the other. So they would probably be better. So they are going to conjunct Mars. So Mars is action, and, you know, getting into action with our health, certainly taking really good care of our physical bodies. I would say too, in the Earth sign of Virgo, this would be a good time to get busy and share, and you know, make a garden. You know, I'm thinking of like Mars, you know, Mars and Virgo, cutting up, plowing, right? Plowing the earth. So maybe, and then with Mercury ruling, you know, it's all about neighborhoods and neighbors and siblings and cousins. So maybe you could start get busy with a garden. You know, starting, I know for some people, it's not the time yet to start. Some of it's being harvested, but just being out in the gardens and sharing. Maybe it's about harvesting vegetables that you've grown, but there's something for every climate zone. You can find something to grow, or even if it's indoors, you know, just the joy of that. But or community supported agriculture, that might be a good use of that time. Mercury with Mars conjunct. August 16th, Venus is going to go into their domicile in Libra, right? So this is where they're at home, the very elegant, beautiful Venus. And so they've been having a hard time in the sign of Virgo. Not the greatest place for Venus. You know, they do what they can, but home sign of Libra, so much easier to negotiate peaceful agreements, contracts, connections. So that's, and they'll be there till September 11th. So Venus in its domicile of Libra. Then September 2nd, we have Mars will come into an opposition with Neptune. So again, you know, that Mars is that ambitious, goal-oriented, you know, the god of war too. You know, talk about war on COVID. Neptune rules infections. So you can see how we're taking this on, and, you know, we're going to fight. We're going to do whatever we need to do to take care of ourselves. And anyway, Mars and Neptune in that opposition, what could that look like personally? Well, again, Neptune being in the dreamy, inspiring, you know, when you think about the personal self, music and art and inspiration and poetry, that's all very Neptune and Pisces, you know, losing ourselves in these beautiful arts or devotion like bhakti yoga. And Mars in an opposition, you know, again, you know, Mars might be wanting to be combative and critical and mental. And then that's, you know, here it comes opposite Neptune, just like Mercury will. And it's like, okay, I think we can soften here. Let's all be a little more forgiving and peaceful, right? Let's find that middle ground. The last thing is that Sunday, September 5th, which I guess is Labor Day weekend, Venus is going to be, when Venus in Libra will square Pluto in Capricorn. And that can bring up a lot of, you know, I think about the Me Too movement, or, you know, exposing toxic societal frameworks and toxic family karma and things, and Venus being in that very tough position. So it's like, hey, we need to let out the toxicity. We need to purge, you know, old outworn ways of relating that do not support us, that are not about love and harmony. So that can bring up a lot of emotional, deep emotional. It will have been after the full moon, but you know, watch Labor Day weekend where it can be squaring off. There may be some hidden agendas around relationships that get exposed, marriage or relationships or collaborations, partnerships. There could be some secret things that were not known that, you know, come to the surface. So just as something to watch for. Mercury will be in Libra too. So at least, you know, again, here is Mercury as a peacemaker. So, you know, again, speaking and communicating in a beautiful, harmonious, a kind-hearted, peaceful manner will help, like a healing balm, you know, for helping for whatever has to be exposed and whatever old patterns have to come up. So, so yeah, that's basically our month. That's our lunation. So I will say, I can tell you where, you know, we'll just do a quick walk through the zodiac and then we'll be done. So where is this new moon going to happen? What area of your life is going to be impacted? Well, if you have Aries rising, we'll start with Aries. The new moon is going to be in your 5th house, which is the joy in ancient astrology. It's the joy of Venus. So it's like pleasure and creativity and children and, you know, having a good time. And so there's all this new energy around creative pursuits and love affairs. And what are you in love with? What sign rules your 5th house? You know, are you in love with spreadsheets? Are you in love with music? Are you right? Are you in love with books? You know, whatever that love affair is, this is like a place to start anew. And so Taurus will be in your 4th house. For Taurus rising, this will be in your 4th house, and that will be of the home and family roots, and, you know, perhaps mother or parents and things like that, our roots, our genealogy, all of those things related to the 4th house. Gemini, if you have Gemini rising, the new moon will be in your 3rd house, which is the joy of the moon. So a lot of this, the goddess, right? The goddess energy. So that will be exciting new beginnings around connections and writing, attitudes, the mind, connecting with others, communications, retailing, selling, buying and selling is very, very Gemini. So a lot of joy there and new beginnings. Then in Cancer, for Cancer risings, this is going to be in your 2nd house, which rules your possessions, your personal possessions, your personal finances, your talents, your skills, the things that are important to you. So that's where it's going to shine a light. So a new beginning in those areas of your life. And then for Virgo, Virgo rising, this new moon is in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the joy of Saturn. So you might be contemplating quietly and individually and away from the world, perhaps maybe making some sacrifices in order to New moon in Leo, shine your light. Perhaps there's some place you could be of service to somebody. Like maybe I'm just thinking, like, what if you visited a nursing home and cheered up some elderly people? You know, I don't know if they'll allow that right now with COVID, but you could be, you know, when it was at its worst last year, when people stood outside the window and waved and had puppets and signs, and, you know, so they're, again, being creative, right? Don't let limitation stop us. So that's an idea for you Virgo risings. Let's see, for Libra rising, this will take place in your 11th house of friends, colleagues, group organizations, professional colleagues. It's also the house of hopes and wishes and dreams. So that's a really cool place to have the new moon. And it is also considered the joy of Jupiter in ancient astrology. So Jupiter is about luck and expansion and, you know, literally being jovial. That's where the word came from, right? Jove was the Roman name for Jupiter. If you are a Scorpio rising, you have this new moon in your 10th house, which is it's a very public house. It's one's reputation, one's career, one's dharma. It's all very much where this new moon energy has the potential, right? Shining your light, being innovative and creative in those areas. Then for you Sag risings, we have it will be in this new moon in Leo will be in your 9th house. And that is called in ancient astrology, the joy of God. So yeah, the joy of God. So that, again, a tremendous a focus on new beginnings and creativity. It could be related to foreigners or foreign travel or foreign influences, you know, or long distance travel. It could also be spiritual wisdom, religion, philosophy, esoteric studies, higher language, foreign language, you know, higher education in general, you know, college, whatever. So there's that. Then we have for Capricorn risings, this will be in your 8th house. Your 8th house is going to be activated. So shining a light where the house represents the light dimming. So it's interesting. It's shining a light on perhaps the need to let go and the need to regenerate and to find your heart in an environment which you know, may be some secrets. Maybe there's some secrets. That's what's coming to me, that might be revealed, and it might be around love affairs and creativity and things. But again, this is an opportunity to begin anew, to start anew. So Leo, Sun and Moon in Leo, 8th house. It's very regenerative too. When we let go of something new can show up in its place. And maybe it's about accepting and knowing that we can take care of ourselves and do what we have to do to triumph. Let's see. We have for Aquarius rising, it'll be in your 7th house. So that's partnerships, collaborations with others. It could be one-to-one relationships, like say a therapist with a client. It could also, of course, be marriage partner, marriage house, or one spouse. So there may be some new beginnings around, if you are in a partnership with someone, whether it's a spouse or a business partner, some new beginnings, some new creative ventures that you might undertake that could be bold and outrageous and, you know, remember, you make it uniquely you, and always remember incorporating the heart in it. Very, very powerful, very important for us to remember that this month. And then lastly, Pisces rising, this will be in your 6th house, which is the joy of Mars. So Mars, the joy of Mars, you know, that can be related to illness or struggle or a feeling of a lot of labor, you know, but so a new beginning and maybe stepping out and individuating yourself in the workplace, like if you have a day job, and overcoming struggles, you know, by being warm and generous and heart-centered, that this gives us the opportunity to overcome either health challenges or struggles in the workplace, or, you know, feeling like you're maybe being used and abused. You know, how many people complain about their job like that, and it's maybe in a place where we could have a really powerful, inspiring, heart-centered parlay with our boss, you know, with our manager or something. So that could be a very, or just attune that fire and that courage to deal with our health, you know, say if we haven't been attending to it, then to really begin anew. And it could also be service too. The sixth house could be serving others. And like, I think of charity work or nonprofit. So that might be a place to be inspired by and to let yourself shine. So yeah, okay. Oh, that's all I can think of for today. And I hope you enjoyed that. And like I said, this is you know, there's definitely challenges this month. It's not an easy one, not by any shot, but again, remembering the heart. Leo rules the heart and bravery, like being lion-hearted. So we want to infuse all that we do in this month, and may we all use the highest, come from the highest space of the heart and service, and let our light shine, and not be afraid to take risks and step out and be different, and not to be impulsive though. You know, Uranus and Taurus, the square could be like wanting to be impulsive and like, I can't stand this, I gotta break. I'm gonna break away, I can't take it any longer. It's like, no, just be patient, use it wisely. Yes, be smart about it, and be, I think too, with the Saturn-Uranus square in general, it's like, okay, you know that certain things that aren't working in your life have to go, but don't like throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't be so impulsive that you just go nuts, right? So it's just keeping that pace. So anyway, I hope that has helped you, and always available. If you have any questions, you can always email me, Irlianna at StarSoundAstrology.com. The website link is below. Happy to help you navigate these interesting timings, and any kind of whether you want a natal chart reading or a, you know, solar return for your birthday, or if you want to just zone in on one specific area, you know, we're always available for that. We're in service to you. How can we help you? How can we take care of you? So that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great, wonderful, wild and woolly month of August, and rain, baby, rain. I don't mean rain from the sky, like rain, like the king or the queen that you are. Okay, take care all. Namaste. This is Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, StarSoundAstrology.com. Thank you all so much for listening. Bye for now.